There are some moments in life that are fleeting, but leave a lasting impression in our minds. We latch onto those moments and make sure to never forget them. Just like so many things in life, football has also given us tons of such moments, from players putting in amazing displays to teams defying the odds. Who remembers that time when Greece did the unthinkable and won the European Championships? Or what about the rapid rise of Wigan Athletic striker Amir Zaki before he lost his way? Michael Owen is one of only 9 players to have scored more than 150 goals in the Premier League. But the Englishman's career did not enjoy the sort of longevity us fans had longed for. In a prolific career that was besieged by injuries, Owen was perhaps one of the greatest strikers England had ever produced. Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode on Goalside. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss out on all the action again. Today, we're going to talk about the rise and fall of Michael Owen, a one-of-a-kind striker who had the world at his feet at a very young age. We're going to discuss how the striker made a name for himself at Liverpool before moving to Real Madrid and Newcastle, and finally ending his playing career on the books of Stoke City after he'd won the league title with Manchester United. Before we begin, remember to answer the question in the video so that you have a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Michael Owen was already making a name for himself in the Liverpool youth teams before Roy Evans decided that the precocious talent was ready for first-team football at the tender age of 17. What was initially thought to be a risky move turned out to be a great decision, as the young striker became a huge success and became a Kop idol. From lifting the UEFA Cup to becoming the only Englishman to win the Ballon d'Or, Owen enjoyed unprecedented success. Seen as the golden boy of British football, Owen was the hottest property in English football. English media saw him as the second coming of Jimmy Greaves and even put a wager on the youngster to break Sir Bobby Charlton's record of 49 international goals. After bursting onto the scene during the 1998 World Cup, where he scored one of the greatest goals in football history against Argentina, Owen's stock rose and he started getting seen as one of the rare few players the national team had who could decide the outcome of games. At that time, England did not have a decisive striker who could be named in the same breath as the likes of Alessandro Del Piero, Raul Gonzalez, Pippo Inzaghi and Christian Vieri. Therefore, it was understandable that Owen was overused at a relatively young age. Before the 2006 World Cup, Owen suffered a knee injury and was recovering from it. Based on medical reports, the striker was not fit enough to travel with the rest of the squad to Germany. However, the Three Lions were in a desperate situation and rushed their star man back into service. That did not help, and Owen aggravated his injury, never to recover from it again. That searing pace was gone, and so was the fearlessness. While the knack of scoring was there, it was a different striker from the one that entertained the Kop on a weekly basis. Indeed, Owen himself admits that he was too scared to use his pace. For the last 6-7 years of my career, I was petrified of sprinting. I thought I would tear something. All I did for the last 6-7 years of my career, I hated it. I couldn't wait to retire for most of the back end of my career. I wasn't me. All I did was drop short. But then again, being featured in a World Cup while not being 100% wasn't the only factor behind Owen's dramatic fall. Today, you'd come to see some of the best strikers on the planet peaking at the age of 30. With Owen, it was totally different. The Englishman already had 15 years of top-level football in the bag when he was 30. Playing at such a high level when he was developing did not aid Owen's cause. He was banged up, and once he crossed 25, it was difficult for him to recover from injuries. One has to question Liverpool's competence given the fact that they started putting too much pressure on Owen at such a tender age when they already had a more experienced striker in the shape of Robbie Fowler to rely on. As a teenager, Owen was playing week in week out and in the summers was representing the English national team. The workload was way too much for someone of his age. While he was impressing, no one realised that the more hours he clocked in on the pitch, the more his playing days were getting chalked off. Up until the age of 20, I was probably one of the best in the world at that age. That continued for a certain period of time, but then injuries slowed me down. I was probably on the decline at 23. When you rupture your hamstring and it doesn't repair, I was compromised. That happened to me when I was 19 and I won the Ballon d'Or at 21, Owen told The Independent's Carl Markham. In 2004, Owen decided to join Real Madrid's Galacticos in a move that was going to take his career to another level. Sadly though, the move never worked out even though the striker would score goals regularly from the bench. The striker never really settled in Spain, and if truth be told, Owen was never able to replicate the performances that made him such an endearing footballer during his time at Anfield. While the allure of Real Madrid was understandably difficult to ignore, perhaps in hindsight, things could have been different had Owen decided to stay put. there was still a chance to salvage his career. After deciding that he needed to leave Madrid, Owen ended up signing for Newcastle United in a move that really boggles the mind. The striker was keen on being reunited with Alan Shearer, but the club legend had retired by the time Owen arrived at Tyneside. At Newcastle, let's just say that things never worked out. Owen spent most of the time on the treatment table, recovering from one injury or another, while the Magpies continued paying his hefty wages. It was a deal that did not work out for either party. While injuries did contribute to a rather short career, we have to admit that Owen's inability to adapt to a constantly evolving world of football also played a major role in things going south. During his prime, Owen was really good, but wasn't a very cultured striker. His main weapons were superhuman speed and a cold-blooded scoring streak. These attributes made him a top striker, but these two don't guarantee a long career. As injuries started piling up, Owen started losing a lot of his pace. The predatory instinct was still there, but lack of pace made him an easy target for opposition defences. Owen never really worked on making a transition, nor did he ever spend enough time on the training pitch to unlock more tools. Time for our $100 question. Which player supplied the final pass to Michael Owen for the memorable goal against Argentina in the 1998 World Cup round of 16 encounter? Ryan Giggs, for example, relied on pace a lot in his heyday. But as he started nearing the twilight years of his career, the Welshman transitioned into a midfielder, knowing that he wouldn't last in top flight for long if he did not improvise. This is why Owen's last few years in football were left warming the bench at Manchester United, even though he would score an odd goal. And though his career was definitely a short one, Michael Owen can still look back at it with pride, knowing that he at least ended up winning the Premier League, something that eluded a lot of his peers such as Steven Gerrard, Danny Murphy and Robbie Fowler. However, it still hurts us to know that we never got a chance to see Michael Owen enjoy a career without constant injury worries. Maybe if he was managed better when he first started out, Owen would have gone on to guide England to some silverware as well. But then again, we can never know for sure. Regardless, the things he achieved on the pitch make Michael Owen one of the greatest footballers of his time. And though the career was short, it did bring us a lot of joy and memories that are unlikely to be forgotten.